Welcome to the Health Angle Podcast with Dr. Mike Headlee and Dr. Gordon Fimreite, where we'll be exploring different angles of health to achieve the best version of yourself. Now, here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Gordon.
Welcome, everybody. I am Dr. Mike Headlee. With me is Dr. Gordon Fimreite. Welcome, Gordy.
Hey, Dr. Mike, and welcome, viewers. Today's subject is going to be a real fun one to dive into, Dr. Mike. It's natural anti-aging strategies. In other words, how to stay young. When you look at the anti-aging effects on the body, I think it also includes the mind, your body. We only have one vessel for our entire life, so we really need to pay attention to it. And I don't think enough effort and energy is placed on keeping our body, our mind healthy for the long ride of life. One of the things that I think about, Dr. Mike, is this really hits home for me because I turned 60 this year. I'm going to do everything I can to stay young. So I think everybody listening to this podcast, they don't want to age. They want to stay young. They want to be youthful. So we're going to really explore and dive and give some great ideas of what people can do. My grandmother's story, she's 105 years old. She was 105 years old. She says, quote, "Just as important as my diet is I eat healthy foods and I keep my mind and body active." And I think that's really critical. I'm going to read that again. I keep my mind and body active. And I think that's the key to not only longevity, but also anti-aging. We'll give all kinds of tips and strategy here, but I think the overall tone, Dr. Mike, that I'd like to set is, and we talked about this before, is consistency is more important than intensity. You want to make these things a lifestyle for the long run. So I present a hypothetical question, Dr. Mike. Is anti-aging the same as longevity? And I actually can't distinguish them, really. I actually typed it up on a search engine, and the search engine said anti-aging is focused on reducing the visibility signs of aging, while longevity addresses overall health, disease prevention, and extending life. So I guess I'll ask you, Dr. Mike, the same hypothetical. How do you differentiate the two? I think we have to dive in and really be conscious of both. What's your thought?
My opinion is it comes down to quality versus quantity. I think of longevity as a long life. I think anti-aging is a quality of life because you can be 30 years old and aging like a 40-year-old. You can be a 30-year-old aging like a 25-year-old, right? And you can be a 95-year-old doing yoga on the beach and surfing and hiking mountains and doing things versus 95 in a nursing home and not really have much activity outside your room. And so that's how I kind of look at it. And one other question I like to ask people, including yourself, is the why of anti-aging. Why do you want to age slower? Why do you want to look and act and feel younger than 60? I'm kind of curious how you answer that, Gordy.
Like I was kind of alluding to, I almost look at longevity and anti-aging kind of similar. I know they're different, but they look very similar. And I think for me, my goal is, I can't think. We got one vessel, one body, mind, soul, spirit, and we have to maintain that for a lifetime. And I think if you focus in on being young and doing the right strategies to stay young, of course, you're going to have longevity with that as well. I think of it as a way to just have positivity outlook on life and reducing some of the symptoms that might come up with age. How about you?
One of the reasons why I want to age healthily, anti-age, you have a long quality and quantity of life is I want to live life on my terms, meaning I want to live in where I dictate. I want to live on my house or my apartment or my condo, or I want to have choices and options. And to do that, you have to age well. If I want to go golfing, I have to feel good enough to golf or swimming or biking. And so those, just to live life on my terms and live my best life possible. I want to be healthy and happy and holy and full of life and interdependent. I want to, rely on other people, but also I want to be independent, Gordy. I don't want people to be able to have to take care of me. I'm going to start us off by testing. Here are some of the best anti-aging tests if you're really inclined. A couple of my recommendations on testing that are free, that are subjective, is bluezones.com. is 100, I think it's 100 some questions. I haven't taken it in a while. Bluezones.com, you can take a quiz on the website for free, and they will tell you how long you're expected to live and then the quality of years. And then just say you're supposed to live till you're 80 and only 70 quality years. Well, they'll give you a strategy how to improve your quality and your quantity of life. Pretty cool stuff. And then realage.com has another test. But the gold standard, I follow Ben Greenfield Fitness. I've followed him for years. I've met him at a biohacking conference and paleo conference in Texas. But the Dune-Din Pace test, DUNEDINPACE test, measures the pace of biological aging to see if you're aging fast or slow. So it's an analysis of chemical tags on the DNA contained in the white blood cells, DNA methylation markers. And so that's a really, really gold standard test, Gordy, that people can look up, the Dune-Din Pace test. For instance, Ben Greenfield, his rate of aging is 0.73, meaning for every 365 days he lives, he only ages 266 days. So it's a really, really neat test.
Wow.
And then some other tests that people can do that pretty easily to find online, pretty low cost, is to measure your telomeres. You can do an oxidative test, acid alkaline balance, and mineral status. And there's other ones. I think if your blood pressure is within normal limits, your blood sugar, your BMI, etc., those are really good biomarkers and tests to determine if you're aging right. Because if you have high blood pressure, high blood sugar, etc., your biology is aging way, way faster. And so I just wanted to start off with some testing. So I'll swing it back to you, and you can tell us some strategies that you think are the best to help people out.
Absolutely. What I'm going to start with is in no particular order. I'm just going to go through some things that people can do. And the first one I think is really important is exercise. I don't think people age good or look good if they're not getting exercise. And exercise can include everything from lifting weights to aerobics, including stretching as well, which would be yoga or Pilates. So here's a quote by Carol Welch. She goes, "Movement is a medicine for creating change in a person's physical, emotional, and mental states." So it affects a lot of different realms, not only physical. So some of the advantages to lifting weights, which I love and think that it's really advantageous to do, is it boosts energy. The more energy you have, you get from exercising. So enhances brain function, releases endorphins. These are natural highs. These are basically chemicals that help your mind think better and you be smarter as well as remember more. Enhances mood. These endorphins also make you feel relaxed and upbeat. In fact, much of the research found that exercise is better at relieving depression than antidepressants. So another thing is it prevents disease. Exercise oxygenates the blood, strengthening your heart, and helps you prevent a whole spectrum of potential diseases and illnesses as well. It manages weight. Exercises boosts the metabolism, firms the body, and helps you shed fat. In other words, it keeps you young. It helps with better joint health. With increased muscular strength comes better structural support, including a reduction of stress on the joints. And also it deepens the sleep. It gives you excess energy by exercising. You burn off all that bad stuff you don't want, but it also gets you to a place where you can have a good night's rest. And I can't help but to think this, just going back to this metabolism, Dr. Mike, as people mature in life, they tend to decrease their metabolism and tend to put on weight. And I think it's so critically important to lift weights because this 2008 study, it showed that between the ages of 20 years of age all the way up to 70 years of age, the human body really loses 30% of its muscle mass. And the key to metabolism is to have that lean muscle mass on your body, because all the foods you eat, the water you drink, and everything you put in your body has to metabolize that, and keeps you lean, mean, a fighting machine, so to speak. But it makes your body efficient. It makes your body very efficient. And between 20 years of age and 70, well, that's 7 pounds of muscle loss every 10 years. So you need that muscle mass to keep your metabolism, keep you young, keep your fitness levels up there. I also advised, aerobics, good aerobics, swimming, walking, biking, stretching routine, which can include yoga, Pilates. So the bottom line, Dr. Mike, move. Your life really depends on it. So that's my first one. I'm going to hit it back to you, and then I got the whole list of other ones as well.
I totally agree. I'm reading an article, and I read an article today about maintaining biological youth is crucial for longevity. Exercise, particularly moderate activity, and they recommend in this study 150 to 180 minutes of weekly resistance training is the most powerful intervention for slowing biological age. So 5 times a week times 30 minutes a day, 150 minutes roughly. You can space that out for 7 days. You can do it in 3 days. So that's pretty critical. That's pretty standard for moderate activity. And then one other test, this HOM-IR test, is a simple way to assess metabolic health, because 99% of the U.S. population may have some degree of insulin resistance. And when metabolism, you mentioned earlier that, exercise will help balance our blood sugar and metabolism and help our metabolic health. So there's another test, HOM-IR, Homer. And measure quantity and quality of exercise works. So exercise. Wow. I'm going to go exercise after this.
I love it, Mike. I just bought a Fitbit watch, and I think they're pretty brilliant. I've never used one before, and I don't know if I'm thrilled with the extra electromagnetic waves that could possibly be filtered into your body with it. But it's really a good mechanism. It kind of keeps you in track of keeping you active. It also shows your heart and how important your beats per minute are. It goes into respirations and oxygen saturation. It goes into more detail that you learn about this kind of stuff, which I also think is kind of cool, is it keeps track of your steps. And if you're not getting those steps, it makes sure that you get your steps in, and it gives you a little buzz. It gives you a little motivation to keep you going. So, I just purchased this not too long. I've heard of Fitbits, obviously, but I've never really practiced or used one. So it's kind of a new little routine that I'm trying out here for a little while, which is kind of fun. I want to go into a couple of nutrients that people can do. And the first one is whey protein. I personally use a product called Organic Plant Protein Plus Collagen, or you can also get organic protein with collagen polypeptides. And the collagen is known for keeping your skin healthy, as well as your hair, keeping that healthy. Increases the muscle mass, prevents muscle loss. It also helps with your joints, and the list goes on. And also, whey has also been shown to increase your body's stores of antioxidant glutathione. And in the supplement form, I personally take a supplement called NAC, which is a precursor to glutathione. And glutathione is known to increase the integrity of telomeres. Telomeres are bundles of DNA found in every cell. Not to get too scientific here, but DNA found in every cell in the body, in our whole body, Dr. Mike. We have 36 trillion cells that make up the human body. We might have a few billion that make up the cardiovascular cells, a few billion that might make up the muscular system, including like the brain and the nervous system are just an accumulation of specialized cells. You got the GI tract, the skin. Cells, it's so critically important. And everyone has this DNA found in every cell. And so the bottom line is you got to nourish that. And collagen precursing into the glutathione is critical. And then other nutrients that are benefit to this telomere and its length are vitamin B12, zinc, vitamin D, which is critical, omega-3s, vitamin C, and vitamin E. And I think that having a smoothie with this whey protein, as well as the supplement that I just talked about, NAC, and some of the other ones, you can put those into your smoothie as well as some of these other components that I'm going to talk about here in just a bit. But I want to make really clear that there's some things that you should absolutely avoid. Unfortunately, the typical Western diet is high in processed foods, meats, and grains. And it's easy to overdo it. And you have this phosphorus intake level that is just way too high, and combine that with too low levels of calcium, and that can be really difficult on the body. So phosphate can act on your mitochondria. Mitochondria, those 36 trillion cells of the body, the powerhouse is the mitochondria in each one of those cells. This can add to more of an oxidative stress. And this oxidative stress is due to the high phosphate levels. Also, fast food and these ready-to-eat processed foods are the main contributor to this high consumption of this phosphate. So the key is that you got to increase your magnesium. This is one thing. Vitamins to support mitochondria include magnesium. Magnesium, it helps to regulate the muscles as well as the nerve function, blood sugar levels, blood pressure, and making protein and bone healthier, as well as the DNA, and also vitamin B, coenzyme 10, resveratrol, and these are just to name a few. So the other thing is avoid sugar. And I know Dr. McCullough talks about avoid sugars. Not only can it increase your stress on your body as far as like the insulin levels and having too much blood glucose, and your body has a whole cascading reaction from that, but also it reacts to the amino acids in the body. And there's a study showing that if you reduce sugars in your body, you can increase the lifespan, at least in animal models. So limit your sugars in your diet. And this is well-known key to longevity and anti-aging. So one of the things you can also reduce is fructose in particular, because this is pro-inflammatory. And some of the foods with high fructose that we don't even realize that we're eating are table sugar, fruit juice, high fructose corn syrup, which is in candies, baked foods, baked goods, processed foods, sodas, and the list goes on and on. So the key is kind of implementing an anti-inflammatory diet. So I recommend going back to our past podcast on an anti-inflammatory diet, because I think that's critical to both longevity, but also looking and functioning good. In other words, anti-aging. So Dr. Mike, I'm going to throw it right back to you.
Yeah. I don't have a ton to add because you covered so many things. I want to think of an overarching thing like the why you want to do anti-aging. What's your why? And focus on your purpose. And if the why is big enough, the how will become self-evident, how to lose the weight or buy some supplements or hire a personal trainer to get you out of bed in the morning. But just to add to what you said, some really, really good information. This is one of the reasons that I take collagen. Glycine in collagen reverses aging in our cells. Collagen is 1/3 of the protein in your body, and 28% of it is made up of amino acid glycine. And mounting research suggests glycine may play an important role in the aging process. It's been shown to extend lifespan in worms, mice, and rats, and improve health in mammalian models of age-related disease. It's a precursor to glutathione, as you mentioned, how important glutathione is, and a powerful endogenous antioxidant. One side note is glycine also helps fight viruses. And people are so concerned about viruses today after COVID and colds and flus and RSV and all these things. So glycine is really, 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 really critical. That's why it's one of my absolutely top 5 favorite supplements. And so an overarching theme is also toxicities and deficiencies. And so magnesium deficiency is common. Like you said, it's really, really important. It affects almost 50% of the population, Gordy, is deficient in magnesium because it plays a crucial role in over 300 enzymatic reactions. A 2024 study explored magnesium's effect on 12 hallmarks of aging, including genomic instability, telomere attrition, mitochondrial dysfunction. Magnesium deficiency negatively impacts these aging processes, and it may improve sleep and memory and other things. And so leafy greens is a really, really good source of magnesium. Supplements, you can take 400 to 500 milligrams is kind of a safe dose. Epsom salt baths are another way to do that. So that's definitely on my top 10 favorite supplements. And then some other top supplements for mitochondrial function I'll just add, and then I'll kick it back to you, Gordy, is vitamin K2, glycine, CoQ10, B vitamins, NAD+, and PQQ. NAD+, gosh, it's critical coenzyme found in every cell in our body, and it's involved in hundreds of metabolic processes needed for cellular energy, mitochondrial function. So NAD+ and PQQ plus CoQ10, just some really critical things to help your mitochondria. So I just wanted to add that to your extensive list of what you did. So what else you got, Gordy?
Well, I think sleep is also very critical, Dr. Mike. And I think it'd be worth mentioning the supplement you take each night. There's so many things that happen when we're asleep with your mind and your brain function and memory and how your body physically heals and repairs. But I think I'm going to throw it back to you to share with that supplement that you take at night for helping you sleep, which I think is critical for anti-aging.
Yeah, I mean, I take a product called Calm, CALM. It's 500 milligrams of magnesium. So, I mean, I take that within an hour. Sometimes I take it right before bed. But I really want to optimize my muscle relaxation, my brain calming. And so, yeah, I'm a huge fan of really biohacking sleep I wear blackout shades, but I also wear an eye mask, use some lavender, and I do some rebounding and relaxation and meditation or reading, and try not to be on the computer an hour before bed. And so really have some strategic plans, eat 3 hours before bed. Yeah, so there's absolutely a plan. And my goal is not to wake up before the alarm goes off. So I don't accomplish that every single night, but that's my goal at least 5 days a week. And
there's other foods that can be anti-aging. I was presented with this question, Dr. Mike, which sounds crazy. If there's one food that you could only choose and you had to eat that for the rest of your life, what would that food be?
Pizza. Because you can make, patients are telling me about chicken crusted pizza. You can have cauliflower crusted pizza. You can have egg crusted pizza. You could have cauliflower. So you could have chicken crusted pizza, and then you put the Caesar salad on top. You can have a veggie pizza. So, people think of, meat lovers, Domino's pizza. You can have a really, really healthy pizza. So that's my food.
That's great. I never thought of it. So the one I was thinking of is eggs, organic eggs, because they have 9 essential amino acids, 6 grams of the highest quality protein that you can put your body to work with its nutrients. Really essential to building and maintaining and repairing the body, such as your skin, internal organs, and muscles. They also have major components that help with your immune system and hormone production. Also, there's a couple of nutrients good for your eyes, lutein and zeaxanthin. Also, choline for your brain, your nervous system, cardiovascular system, and the natural occurring vitamin D. So all that found in organic eggs, anti-aging, in my opinion. And then there's other things you mentioned, like leafy greens, and that includes spinach, kale, turnip greens, colored greens, as well as romaine lettuce. Great sources of lutein and zeaxanthin. Again, studies have shown eating such rich foods and antioxidants are good for anti-aging. Also fight cancer and other things that these leafy greens give you. Also vitamin C. The list goes on and on, other antioxidant qualities. Broccoli, one of the best dark green antioxidants there is. Broccoli contains the highest amounts of a cancer-fighting compound Blueberries, one of the best antioxidants out there. Also acai and blackberries. And these are great for the skin. They keep you young. They're full of antioxidants and they neutralize these free radicals in the body. They also can help to prevent brain cell dysfunction, and it helps to increase brain function as a result. Reduces the cancer as a result, reduces cholesterol levels. That helps to prevent heart disease and stroke. And it also prevents Alzheimer's and other neurological disease. And the list goes on and on. So I always recommend these smoothies, Mike, because you can put collagen in them. You can put leafy greens, blueberries, acai, broccoli, egg, chlorella, another thing you can put in a smoothie. And this has really important qualities. It's not only good for its nutrient level, but it is also known to get rid of these heavy metal toxins in your body. They call it like a near perfect food. It boosts your immune system, improves your digestion, especially if constipated is a problem. It enhances your ability to focus and concentrate, increases your energy level. Again, chlorella. The other thing is garlic. This is also known as an antioxidant. It's good for antibacteria as well as antifungal. It's good for the immune system. It's a good anti-aging supplement that you also can put in a smoothie. You know, we can talk about other things that we talked in past podcasts, Dr. Mike, and I want to refer people back to our EMFs. I think that's critically important with computers and technology of our phones, that we got to reduce the EMFs passing through our body. You talked about grounding mats and putting the special eyewear. I think those are critical for anti-aging. Also, water. People can go back to our past podcast on water. We need to purify our water. There's just too many chemicals and bad toxins in our water supply. We need to purify that. So go back to our past podcast and check out our water. And the other thing, Dr. Mike, is keeping our body mass index in check. In other words, keeping our body weight in check. I think that's very critical. I know you can exercise, watch what you eat. That goes a long way in keeping your body mass index. Obesity has been known for accelerating your aging as well as decreasing your longevity. So it's really critically important to be in check with that. They actually did a study, the white brain matter, and they said obesity has been linked to accelerated loss of white brain matter. In other words, brain tissue that allows for communication between the different parts of your brain. So overweight after the age of 50 years of age had comparable white matter volume to that of a slim 60-year-old. So it suggests that excess weight can age your brain by about 10 years once you pass middle age. I'm going to pass it on to you, Mike.
Gosh, if you typed in anti-aging biohacking equipment there, it's just endless. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick, since we don't have a lot of time, is detoxification. Instead of just running to the health food store or Walmart and getting something that has detox on the label and taking 6 herbal capsules and going to the bathroom 10 times and inflaming your colon, there's some really, really good strategies. And one of mine lately, Gordy, I just take activated charcoal before I get in my sauna. I go to 170 degrees, 30 minutes every other day. And so then the activated charcoal captures the toxins as I'm sweating and as they're getting released in my body. So that's one of my simplest detox protocols, is activated charcoal as a binder to capture toxins. But also, if you're really interested in interest of time, there's something called niacin sauna detox. You can look it up on YouTube or online. And if you're using sweating and sauna to help your body heal and repair and function, the niacin flush sauna detox, really, really good. And it shows to take any glyphosate and any toxins in our fat cells and flush it out of our body in a non-invasive way. So look into that. Those are my 2 favorite ways to detox, is besides not putting toxins in your body, but the niacin sauna flush and then the activated charcoal. And then last thing is I want to talk about super centenarians. They're rare individuals who have made it to the age of 110 and beyond. At any given time, there are only 50 to 80 centenarians in the entire world. In the U.S., an estimated 120,000 people make it to 100, but only 20 of them make it to 110.
Wow.
So, in many respects, supercentenarians age normally while the rest of us age at an accelerated rate. So, age slowly is my strategy and recommendation. So back to you, Gordy.
I think that's great, Dr. Mike. Great information. I think there's something to be said about having the right mindset as well. The old saying, stinking thinking, that really becomes your reality. So I think people should really concentrate on positive psychology and happiness. And there's a great book that I recommend, The Happiness Advantage by Sean Ecker, and that will get you going on the right direction. I think anti-aging is just internally being happy and content, because that shows externally, it just presents a different realm. People feel it, you can feel it. And I think that keeps you young and also has a physiological effect as well. Mindful meditation, again, you can look up self-guided meditation on YouTube, goal setting, visualization, and vision boards. I mean, go to our past podcast. It's actually our very first podcast that we did, and it was all about goal setting, visualization. And I think people need to feel young inside and have goals and have accomplishments that keeps them young and keeps them going. As far as like keeping the skin healthy and young, I think most of it, Dr. Mike, don't you agree? It comes from your diet, your lifestyle. I think the sauna has a big effect too on skin and skin health. I personally also use a topical ointment besides the internal strategies. And I use it's called Egyptian magic. It's 100% natural ingredients. It's packed with antioxidants known for nourishing, antibacteria, and healing properties, and such thing as olive oil, beeswax, honey, bee pollen, royal gel, and propolis. These are all included in this Egyptian magic. And I might put it on the skin of the face every so often. I'd say probably like 4 to 5 times a week. Sometimes I'm aggressive and I'll do it 6 to 7 times a week. But for me, I'm out in the sun all the time, beach volleyball, and I think it's important to take care of the skin as well. Just to summarize, new research has found that there's 4 key behaviors for anti-aging. So don't smoke, moderate drinking or no drinking, exercise, keep it regular, keep it moderate, not this intense stuff. Eat vegetables and fruits daily, these really lower your risk of disability, chronic disease, and mental health problems as you age, which is critical to anti-aging, of course. The strategies to increase successful aging up by 50% by just doing those strategies alone. The key is just, in my opinion, consistency is more important than intensity. So
very well said, Gordy. Very well said. Great stuff. Great information. So I'm going to close this out, as I always do, by asking people, what's your number one takeaway that you can share with a coworker tomorrow at work? What's your number one takeaway that you can share at the dinner table with a family member on how you can create more longevity and anti-aging strategies in your workspace, your family environment? And then what's your number one action step you're going to take today? What's the number one thing? You're going to research magnesium and how much to take. If it's in your multivitamin, you're going to take this collagen with glycine. What's your number one action step? Are you going to learn mindfulness? You're going to read a book. You're going to get some skin creams to help your body age better on the outside. You're going to hydrate. You're going to listen to some of our other podcasts. What's your number one action step that you can take today? So what are we going to talk about next week, Gordy?
That's great. Thanks, Dr. Mike. We'll have our next week episode on the screen. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please like our content and also click the notification bell. So that concludes this episode of The Health Angle, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us on the Health Angle podcast. Please subscribe to our channel and catch us for our next episode.